An excerpt from Betsy Lee by T.E. Brown. I said I would. Well, I hardly know, but a yarn's a yarn, so here we go. It's along of me and a lawyer's clerk. You've seen mayhap that sort of spark, as neat and as pert, as sharp as a pin, with a morsel of hair on the tip of his chin, with his face so fine and his tongue so glib, and a saucy cock in the set of his jib, with his rings and his studs and all the rest, and half a chain cable paid out of his breast. Now there's different divils ashore and at sea, and a divil's a divil wherever he be, but if you want the real old mark, the divil of divils is the lawyer's clerk. Well, out it must come, though it be with a wrench, and I must tell you about a wench that I was a-courting of, yes me, aye, and her name, it was Betsy Lee. Now most of you lads has had a spell of courting and that, and it's hard to tell however a youngster comes to fancy that of all the gells is Jimmy or Nancy, or Mary or Betsy, or that must be his'n. I don't know how it is, or it isn't. But some time or other it comes to us all, just like a clap of shoot, or a squall, or a snake or a viper, or some such dirt, creeping under your shirt, and sliding and slipping right into your breast, and making you as you can't get rest. And it works till you feel your heart rising. God knows what it is, if it isn't poison. You see, we're a roughish set of chaps that's brought up rough on our mammy's laps. And we grow and we run about shouting and fooling till we gets to be lumps and fit for the schooling. Then we gets to know the marks and the signs, and we leaves the school and we sticks to the lines, baiting and setting and hauling and that, till we know every fish from a whale to a sprat. And we gets big and strong, for it do make you stronger to row a big boat and to pull out the conger. Then, what with a cobbling up of the yawl, and a patching and mending the nets for the trawl, and a rising early and going to bed late, and a dreaming of scallops as big as a plate, and the hooks and the creels and the oars and the gut, you'd say there's no room for a little slut. But howsomedever, it's not the case, and a pretty face is a pretty face, and through the whole coil, as bright as a star, a gell slips in, and there you are. Well, that was just the way with me, and the gell I'm speaking of, Betsy Lee, mates, it's wonderful too, the years you may live dead on with your eyes and your ears, right alongside the lass that's going to be your sweetheart, and you never know it. That's the way. For her father and mine was neighbours, and both in the fishing line, and their cottage stood on the open beach, with a nice bit of garden the back of each. You know the way them houses is fixed, with pigs and hens and childer mixed, and the mothers go round when the nights begin, and whips up their own and takes them in. Her father was a terrible fond of flowers, and his garden was twice as handsome as ours. A mortal keen eye he had for the varmin, and his talk was always of planting and farming. He had roses growing above his door, uncommon fine roses they was, to be sure, and the joy of my heart was to pull them there and break them in pieces on Betsy's hair. Not that Betsy was much of a size, at the time I mean, but she had big eyes, so big and so blue and so far asunder, and she looked so solemn, I used to wonder that was all just baby play, knocking about the boats all day, and sometimes a lot of us taking hands and racing like mad things over the sands. It wouldn't be bad for some of us if we'd never gone further and never fared worse. If we'd never grown up and never got big, we'd never took the brandy swig. If we were skipping and scampering and capering still on the sand that lies below the hill, crunching its grey ribs with a beat of our little pattern naked feet, if we just kept children upon the shore, forever and ever and evermore. Now the beauty of the thing when childer plays is, the terrible, wonderful length the days is. Up you jumps and out in the sun, and you fancy the day will never be done. And you're chasing the bumbees, humming so cross, in the hot sweet air among the goss, or gathering bluebells, or looking for eggs, or pelting the ducks with their yellow legs, or a climbing and nearly breaking your skulls, or a shouting for devilment after the gulls, or a thinking of nothing but down at the tide, singing out for the happy you feel inside. That's the way with kids, you know. And the years do come and the years do go. And when you look back, it's all like a puff, happy and over and short enough. Well, I never took notions on Betsy Lee. No more did she, I suppose, on me. Till one day, digging upon the sand, Gibbons, of course, you'll understand, a lad who was always a cheeky young sprout began a pulling of Betsy about, and he worried the wench till her shoulders were bare, and he slipped the knot of her beautiful hair, and down it came, as you may say, like a shower of golden spray, blown this way and that by gamesome breeze, and a rippling down to her knees. I looked at Betsy. Oh dear, how she stood, a quivering all over, her face like blood, and her eyes all wet with tears like fire, and her breasts a swelling higher and higher, and she gripped her sickle with a twitchy feel, and her thumb started out like a coil of steel, and a cloud seemed to pass from my eyes, and a glory, like them you see painted sometimes in a story, breathed out of her skin, and I saw her no more, the child that I'd always thought her before, but wrapped in the glory and wrapped in the hair, every inch of a woman stood panting there. So I ups with my fist as I was bound, and one for his knob and knocks him down. But from that day, by land and by sea, I loved her. Oh, I loved her, my Betsy Lee.